For how completely over the top the scale of this drill is, it's nice that they take the first few opening shots of this episode to show how it moves. I think that's really important. The closest thing we've had to this thing are the Fire Nation tanks, and this is an enormous leap in technology from them. So without these establishing shots and showing how the drill moves and making it more realistic to the viewer, this drill would feel even more out of left field than it already is. I mentioned it in the Northern Air Temple video, but it's probably worth mentioning again. We can actually see in that episode that the mechanist is working on the schematics for the drill all the way back then. Speaking of the Northern Air Temple, War Minister Ching, who appeared for the first time in that episode, appears again in this episode as well.
The drill's metal shell is impervious.
Ow! Your fucking hand, dude! Jesus, that would hurt!
May and Ty Lee, take the earthbenders out.
She's just keeping this up in the air with one finger and spinning it? Is this a real knife trick? Can people do this? Or is this just some cartoon magic? It's hard to say if Aang left with the sleeping bag still strapped to him, but he definitely didn't arrive on top of the wall with it. Still though, here he is with it as he reconvenes with the group. You know what's crazy? This is actually the first time we see Aang earthbend since the episode he learned it in, Bitter Work, which was 4 episodes ago.
What are you people doing here? Civilians aren't allowed on the wall.
I'm the Avatar. Take me to whoever's in charge.
Ooh, that's the shit I like, Aang. I've actually noticed something with this series as a whole. We're past the halfway mark at this point, and pretty much as soon as we pass that point, Aang starts taking more responsibility, and the gang starts taking more fights. From this point on, they basically meet whatever fight they need to take head on. In the past, though, episodes mostly centered around them trying to escape conflict. That's a gigantic shift from the first half of the show to the second, and it happens pretty much exactly at the midpoint, episode 31 of 61, where Aang messes up the Sandbenders. Like, think about it. It was constantly running from Zuko and Zhao, and then that evolved into running from Azula. But then they took the Sandbender conflict, they fought the Serpent, they're about to take down the Drill, they square up against the Dai Li when that whole thing comes to a head, and that carries on to season 3 as well. Except against Combustion Man, which makes sense since he can nuke things by just looking at them. You can actually see here what I assume to be the rocks that they throw down at Aang in the climax of the episode.
Many have tried to break through it, but none have succeeded.
What about the Dragon of the West? He got in.
That's a cool moment. It's nice that Toph brings up Iroh without even really knowing that she met him. Also, I heard someone say somewhere once that it makes sense that Toph is the one to bring up Iroh's siege, since she probably would have gotten a formal education being highborn and all, so she would know about it. And yeah, that makes sense. This telescope wasn't on this wall earlier, and honestly, I'm fucking pissed off about it.
I've sent an elite platoon of earthbenders called the Terra Team.
If you look really closely here, you can actually see the Terra Team on the ground about to head up with the drill. Okay, so this is always kind of weirded me out, right? May throws 12 entire ass knives here, and they all reach their target at roughly the same time. Now, if they were her weird hand arrow things, I'd be like, yeah, maybe her shooting contraption has a rapid fire option, who knows? But 12 knives thrown at once? I don't know about that one, Chief. Oh, this guy took Toph's advice and just decided to bend 2 feet of rock upwards from underneath Ty Lee. Seriously, what does this attack even accomplish? Great character moment for Ty Lee. It's really fun that she's always smiling, but this does make May seem like she's kind of useless, right? She doesn't really do anything in this fight at all, and I think May might seem useless because, well, in the grand scheme of things, she kind of is.
We're doomed! Get a hold of yourself, man!
I'm about 99% sure that this is the only male-on-male, hand-to-face contact in the entire show. It definitely is when it comes to slapping or punching, I know that. Pretty sure Nickelodeon wasn't too keen on the idea of having actual physical punching to the face in their show, so any contact like this has to be played off like a joke. They did sneak Zuko kicking Sokka's skull in that one time though, but still, no punching, no slapping.
Why are you all looking at me?
You're the idea guy.
That's a lot of pressure.
And also the complaining guy.
That part I don't mind.
I feel like these kind of shots can just get filtered out by your brain, and what am I doing here if I'm not pointing that kind of thing out? This shot is actually the opposite side of Full Moon Bay. We can see the ferry that Zuko and Iroh were riding on docked right here.
Mr. Lee and Mr. Mushy, is it?
It's pronounced Mushi.
I love the idea that Iroh decided to stick with the name that Zuko gave him on the fly that one time.
And this is my uncle, Mushi.
I don't know why, but it's like, yeah, fucking own it, Iroh, you know?
You're pretty easy on the eyes yourself, handsome.
The animation on her stamping these passports is so bad. There's like nothing, no animation. This little scene takes place where injured soldiers are being tended to, right? And if you look in the background, you can actually see women that are dressed very similarly to the women from the Abbey that helped nurse Bato back to good health.
Who did this to you?
2 girls ambushed us. One of them hit me with a bunch of quick jabs.
This isn't just some random dude, actually. This is the guy that was at the head of the Terra Team. Same facial hair and scar and everything.
Ty Lee.
She doesn't look dangerous, but she knows the human body and its weak points.
Yeah, the worst part is what she did to his foot, though.
We'll take it down from the inside.
You've got some pretty big ears, don't you? Once I whip up some cover, you're not going to be able to see, so stay close to me.
This is the exact same move that Toph used in her fight against all the wrestlers. Momo's tail actually inverts colors here really quickly in this shot. How does that happen? And it's mostly wrong. It's usually black with white rings, but for the most part in this shot, it's the opposite. But the most confusing thing is, why did it flash to being the correct colors for like less than a split second? How does that happen? Look at Aang's core strength right now. He can just throw people like that. Why are there valves on both sides of this 90-degree elbow? You only really need one there. That's pretty redundant.
Coldest tea in Ba Sing Se is more like it. What a disgrace.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second?
In the background here, Iroh actually turns away so he can heat up his tea away from prying eyes. Except for these guys, I guess. They're loud. They're cool.
I said no. Have it your way.
Jet silently noticing is so cool. We know how much he hates firebenders, so this over-the-top but still somehow subdued reaction is such great visual storytelling.
We're gonna have to work pretty hard to cut through that.
What's this we stuff? Aang and I are gonna have to do all the work.
Look, I'm the plan guy. You two are the cut stuff up with waterbending guys.
Yeah, I agree. What the hell, Katara? You can't look at Sokka and tell him his role on the team only for him to come through in the clutch and then start whinging when your role on the team just so happens to suck at the moment. You at the very least can't whinge directly at Sokka. You also wouldn't have all these flanges on this one long run of straight pipe at all. This is just poor engineering. You gotta give me this. It's not often that Avatar crosses over with something else I know stuff about.
We're putting everything we've got into busting these braces, but it's taking too long.
Maybe we don't need to cut all the way through. Toph has been teaching me that you shouldn't give 100% of your energy into any one strike. Sokka, take a fighting stance.
Sokka is a professional fighter. He does a very advanced technique here known as leading with your chin. It's also nice to see that Aang is applying an earthbending way of thinking to his problem solving. It really makes us feel like he's learning and growing as a martial artist. Once again, not just physically, but mentally.
Everyone inside that wall, the whole world, is counting on us.
The whole world minus the Fire Nation, that is.
He's right.
War Minister, an engineer was ambushed. His schematics were stolen. War Minister, a brace on the starboard side has been cut clean through. It's sabotage, sir.
Why is Ching so worried? None of this is his fault. Azula couldn't reasonably be angry with him, right? Okay, I don't care how good you are at acrobatics, Ty Lee. You still obey the laws of gravity. If she catches herself on this brace like this, she just has to fall straight down. But luckily, we cut away and then we don't have to think about it.
Guys, get out of here! I know what I need to do!
Wait! You need this water more than I do.
That remains to be seen at this point, actually, I would say. So this pipe clearly ties into this pipe right here, but when Sokka opens this hatch and we see a shot from the inside, there's no hole from that pipe. See? May clearly still has her arrow shooter things. Why didn't they just have her use them earlier and make that other shot make way more sense? Also, in what world does flowing water carry big, heavy rocks like this with it? I guess this one. I guess there is precedent for them floating on water sometimes.
Ugh, disgusting.
It should just be mud, right? Or just like wet clay. It's got that color. Either way, it's not that gross. So physically, if this water is still flowing in what I assume to be a sphere at the end of this pipeline, just like rotating over and over, with Ty Lee just sitting here, she should probably be tumbling face first into this water over and over, right? Just like flipping constantly. That would be pretty hellish torture though, so I can see why they didn't do that. The rocks on top of the wall were a gray color earlier, and even in this one quick shot from a few minutes ago, but now they're the same yellowish brown color of the wall.
What I'd give to be a metal bender.
Good, weird foreshadowing joke, Aang, I guess. I guess it's smart to put the term metal bender in the viewer's head, especially after there have been so many times earthbenders have been specifically thwarted by metal. So, that's smart, I suppose. You know what's a really, really nice low-key touch? We can see here that the sun is setting behind Azula, who is looking towards the wall of Ba Sing Se, which means that the drill is coming from the west, the same direction that the sun is setting in, which is the direction that the Fire Nation is from Ba Sing Se. Little stuff like that is absolutely on purpose. Just so much love and detail detail is put into every tiny part of the show. This fight is awesome. We finally get to see Aang use 3 elements in combat, and it's really gratifying. It's fast-paced, and it never just falls into the trap of Aang and Azula just throwing things at each other. There's rocks falling from above, Aang does some actually really cool earthbending, and of course we get to see more of Azula's high-flying and powerful form of firebending. Short and sweet, gorgeous visuals, gorgeous choreography. I don't think you can really ask for much more in an animated fight scene. So after they breached the wall, I guess the plan was just
Back it up.
Right, back it up.
it's fucking clobbering time, I'd say. Hold on now, wait. You're telling me that they bounced off the wall, then they slid for like 100 feet before curling off to each side of the drill? I'm not 100% sure that that's how that would go exactly.
Now all I need is Actually, that is what I needed for once.
This is a good joke. So often things just keep going wrong for our little gang, so having Aang call out when something just so happens to work out feels really organic actually. Which is crazy because this is just a plot convenience, but them actually calling attention to the fact that it is a plot convenience made it a stronger moment somehow. That's wild. This is so fucking awesome, dude. Like, the music and the visuals and Aang's yell, like, woo! What a climax to an episode, man. Honestly, one of the strongest, at least from a visual perspective, in the entire show, which pairs perfectly with the more emotionally driven climax of the previous episode. Did I mention that the Serpent's Pass and the drill first aired as a 2-parter? These guys are geniuses. Oh no, I hope no one was still in these trenches, Jesus. Highly lucky Ty Lee height placement here, once again narrowly avoiding a horrible drowning. Holy shit, that's gotta be what, a 60, 70, 80 foot drop? I'm just saying, if Sokka fell off this or something, the show would not treat it like a fall he could just land on his feet from.
What a handsome baby.
You think Zuko notices here that this is the family he almost robbed?
I just want to say, good effort out there today, Team Avatar.
Enough with the Team Avatar stuff. No matter how many times you say it, it's not gonna catch on.
How about the Boomerang Squad? See, it's good because it's got Aang in it. Boomerang.
I kind of like that one.
This ending always makes me really happy for some reason. Maybe it's just the way it's shot or the fact that it's just a group of friends just being a group of friends. I feel like it's just a nice way to end such an action-packed episode on something low-key like this. This is another great one. Like I said, this originally aired as a 2-parter with the Serpent's Pass, and it's actually the exact opposite of it. Nearly the entire episode is problem-solving an immediate problem right in front of them, not dealing with things that have happened before. Almost no character stuff in this episode at all. Even Zuko and Iroh's side of the story was just setting up the jet plot for Ba Sing Se. But once again, it's not any weaker for it, because we just got such a healthy dose of character stuff in the last episode. What a genius dichotomy they set up in that regard, seriously. It's so smart, man. The visuals are awesome, so's the music, comedy's good when it needs to be. The only real negative is that Toph kinda gets sidelined again, but you gotta take the good with the bad, I suppose. She definitely has her moments to shine later. Patron shoutouts! If you want to be 2 whole episodes ahead of the YouTube releases, you can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts to my top patrons, Fritz Sullivan, who was so hot he can fry an egg in his open palm. Keegan Scott, who might be the closest thing to a real-life Superman. I mean, I don't know, I haven't met everyone in the world, but I think he's the closest I know. Skylos, who looks the best in the color blue on the planet. And Zoompy, who went down to the local dog shelter and bought a comfortable 3-bedroom apartment in the suburbs for each one. Other huge shoutouts go to my other top patrons, Be My Valentine, Bingo Dingo, Code Canut, Derek Cornwell, DJ Jax, Do Mutual Aid, Eleonora Rose, Garmer, Glintlock, Nicholas Abbott, Praker Gas, The Most Super of Snippers, and Tiago Nascimento. Next up is City of Walls and Secrets, and we made it. We're in Ba Sing Se.